The moment I slipped beneath her duvet, I felt the floor drop out from under me, because he was standing just beyond the bedroom door. I still remember how the air felt that night. Heavy with humidity, scented with linen and the faint trace of her perfume, something soft, powdery, and floral that always lingered just behind her. I say her because she, not I, owned this space, her sanctuary, and I was trespassing into more than territory. I'd come under the pretense of helping her unpack a box of books, of retrieving something she left behind, but the truth was something darker, more dangerous. The lamp cast a honeyed glow over the room, making every shadow tremble. I paced the floorboards, hesitant, my pulse heavy in my ears. I could feel her presence in every corner. The curve of her pillow, the dent in the mattress where she slept, the scattered pages of poetry she read at night. This was her domain. And now I was there, for reasons I barely dared to admit even to myself. As I fiddled with the box, I rehearsed a lie. I'd dropped something. I'd come by to pick it up. But when I turned, I saw him. A silhouette in the doorway. He was quiet, barely breathing. He looked at me in that still moment anew. No words needed. I froze, heart in my throat. He stepped forward. The floorboard groaned under his weight. He didn't yell. He didn't slam the door. He just stood, arms loose at his sides, pushing aside the door just enough to let the lamplight fall on his face. His eyes were calm, but I saw the storm behind them. And then I realized, I was already too late. The boundary had shifted long before I crept inside. I was already inside something deeper. And that's when I did the unthinkable. I climbed into her bed. My limbs felt heavy as though coated in lead. Every breath trembled in my chest. I lay down, careful not to touch the sheets more than necessary, and waited. My head pressed against the pillow, hearing nothing but the second-hand ticking of the clock. Time stretched until I could hear him moving slow, deliberate steps. He paused at the bedside. In that heartbeat, the world contracted. I dared one glance. He looked down as though measuring whether I would flee or stay. And then he spoke two words I never wanted to hear. "You're here." I couldn't tell whether he asked or accused. My throat locked. The bed beneath me felt colder, emptier. I was caught, half a confession, half a surrender. And then the door closed behind him. I lay rigid under the covers, too ashamed to move. The cloth brushed against my skin, whispering her presence. He stood by the nightstand, backlit by the hallway, silent. For a moment I dared hope he would leave, that he would turn, walk away, and I could sneak out and pretend none of it ever happened. But his weight of stillness held me in place. My mind raced. Why did I risk this? What compels me to stand in her space, to sleep in her bed, to cross lines I swore never to touch? Every justification felt threadbare. Every excuse whispered false. Because the real reason was deeper, darker. A longing I couldn't name, intertwined with resentment, desire, curiosity. He cleared his throat. His voice was quiet, soft, but full. "You're not afraid of me," he said. The words scalded the silence. I wanted to answer, to lie, to run. But I was paralyzed. He stepped closer. The lamp's light glinted off the spines of books. I felt his shadow stretch over me. He crouched by the bed, fingertips brushing the blanket a foot from me. "Why are you here?" he asked again, softer this time. My throat uncoiled. I whispered something too broken to hear. "I don't know." And the truth was worse than any lie. My heart pounded. I could smell leather from his jacket, faint with smoke. He had pressed his body into me, even standing still, as though he could claim me by proximity. He leaned forward. His hand hovered. It wanted to reach me, but he didn't. Not yet. Instead, he withdrew, sinking back into shadow. I exhaled when he backed away, the breath trembling from relief and from regret. I dared to shift, to feel the weight of the mattress beneath me, to register that I was here, sleeping in her bed. The guilt was a blade in my chest. He said nothing as he straightened, but I felt the air stir. The threat, the possibility, the question. Then he turned and left the room, closing the door with a quiet click. I lay there, heart torn between silence and confession, torn between longing and fear. The next morning, the sunlight pressed through the curtains in thin stripes. The bedroom felt foreign and intimate at once. I stared at the sheets, her scent still in them, wishing I could erase the memory of every crease I'd made. When I heard his footsteps in the hall, I flinched. The door opened gently, as though he was testing a fault line. He entered, framing the space with distance and intensity. The air hummed with something unsaid dangerous. He held a book, her poetry volume. He looked at me. "You read this?" he asked, voice even. I blinked, words failing. I glanced. He edged closer. "You know her favorite lines." The accusation hovered in the space between us, sharp and bright. I tried to steady myself. They're public lines. But I felt him reading me, peeling back layers. Guilt, shame, longing. He set the book on the pillow next to me. My spine stiffened. I recoiled, but not far enough. The distance was crawling shut. He knelt at the edge of the bed. His fingers brushed mine accidentally, or on purpose. The contact stung, sent heat up my arm. I flinched inward. He withdrew immediately, as though obeying some internal rule. But I'd felt his intention in that slight touch. He swallowed. "You know she's in another city tonight." He paused, giving me space. "Why are you here, really?" Tears pooled behind my eyes. I wanted to say I was lost. That I'd crossed boundaries without knowing. That I loved her. If that word still meant something. But the truth tangled. I was here because of him too. Because her absence cracked something in me, and I sought refuge in sin. My voice trembled. I couldn't stay away. He exhaled. His jaw clenched. He closed his eyes, leaning his head back momentarily. The tilt, the vulnerability, it made my heart twist. Then he opened his eyes, looked downward. "We can't pretend this night didn't happen." I swallowed hard, the air too thin. "I don't want to pretend." He nodded once, sharply. "Neither do I." Between us, the room pulsated, with guilt, with possibility, with the danger of crossing lines. In the days that followed, we entered a dance of avoidance and magnetism. He delivered messages for her. He collected things, he occupied rooms she would inhabit. Always cautious, always stung by what we both knew. One evening, I arrived with a book she had left behind, hoping to return it without confrontation. The hallway light was dim. He was already there, waiting. His eyes flickered when he saw the book in my hand. He offered me nothing, no greeting, no question. Just an intensity that made my skin prickle. He turned, leading me to the bedroom. I followed, drawn despite myself, as though gravity had shifted. He placed the book gently on her desk, and the desk light glowed over his hand. I stood behind him, uncertain where to rest, how to breathe. He turned. "Why are you always here when she's gone?" he asked quietly. I opened my mouth, paused. The truth throbbed. "Because when she's not here, the silence is too loud. And because I need to see you." His eyes darkened. He stepped forward, so close I felt his breath brush my cheek. "I need you to say that again." Something inside me flipped. A line I never thought I would cross. The air between us thickened. The space contracted until I could feel his pulse at my side. My throat felt raw, burning. "I need you," I whispered. His mouth curved. A slow, dangerous smile. He reached for me, not with bravado, but with careful deliberation. His fingers traced my jaw, light, tentative. My pulse jolted. My lips parted. Then he froze. His eyes flicked away, conflicted. He leaned back. "You don't understand what we've done. What we're doing." I tried to steady myself. "Then teach me." He stared at me, vulnerability and ferocity tangled in his face. "I want to," he said. His voice was raw, ragged. We stood there, suspended, on a threshold neither of us dared cross fully. Until I did something impulsive. I pressed myself into him, closing inches, but not yet bridging the gap. His arms dropped to my sides, uncertain. He didn't push me away, but he didn't pull me completely in either. The tension was electric, a wire stretched taut. And then, without warning, a sharp knock at the door. We jumped apart. The tension shattered, but the heat remained. He took a step back. I straightened, heart pounding. The moment was broken, but not undone. The knock at the door echoed like a warning. He froze first, then I did. We both turned toward the door, breathing heavy with some unnamed risk. I smoothed my hair, useless gesture. He approached, cautious, moved to open it. A maintenance worker stood there, someone neutral, someone mundane. He nodded, handed an envelope addressed to her. He left without exchanging names. The knock and the interruption felt like fate stepping in, counsel telling us to pause, to reconsider. He closed the door. For a moment we just stared at the wall, then at each other. The envelope lay between us, insistent and ordinary, and in that ordinariness it felt like fate. He crossed to me, took my hand. "Open it," he urged. I hesitated. He was watching, breath shallow. I tore the flap. Inside, concert tickets for the two of them, dated for tomorrow night. A note in her handwriting. "I'll be away, so I'll see you soon. H." My chest twisted. The tickets represented her absence, and their connection. My presence here was more fraught. He swallowed. "So she's coming back soon." His tone carried both longing and fear. I nodded. The weight of those words landed on us both. Time was finite. Each hour we lingered in this limbo risked exposure, heartbreak, betrayal. He pressed my hand. "We should leave." My heart lurched. Leave? Run. But where? From what? From her? From him? From myself? The decision felt too sharp. His eyes locked on mine. "Just for a while." I nodded, though my bones ached with inertia. He helped me from the bed, the sheets whispering under our weight. We walked through her apartment, room by room, the artifacts of her life. Triptychs of photos, half-read books, a jacket thrown over a chair, a faint scent of her favorite candle. Each threw daggered memory into me. When we reached the door, he paused. Looked at me. "If we're doing this, truly doing this, we have to be honest with ourselves." I swallowed. "Yes." He nodded gently and opened the door for me. The corridor light gleamed beyond. We stepped outside into the hallway. I expected relief but felt only vertigo. Then he turned, looked at me with something fierce and pleading in his eyes. "I want to be more than this moment." My heart thundered. "I do too." We stood in silence. The corridor buzzed faintly. Then he touched my cheek, not in passion but in a plea. I leaned into him. He closed the distance, his forehead pressing to mine. And then he kissed me. Not fully, not deeply, but enough. Enough to shatter what was left of restraint. I froze, wavering between push and pull. He held me gently, insistently. The kiss lingered on edges, promise, fear. We broke apart before surrendering fully, breath ragged. He cupped my face. "We have to be careful," he whispered. I nodded, trembling with something I couldn't name. We walked away side by side, hearts heavy with what we left behind, and what lay ahead. That night, I lay in my own bed. The one I returned to, the one not hers, and slept in the residue of possibility. He collected her keys, left them on my dresser with a note. "Be safe tonight. H." In the dark, I turned over memories. Her laughter in that room, the way she blanketed corners of it with intention, the way she'd run her fingers along spines of books. And then there was him, intersecting that space now, shifting all of my alignment. Morning brought messages. She was returning early. Our time was collapsing. He texted me. "Meet me at the park bench by the fountain, 6 p.m. No illusions, no promises." I arrived early. The bench glowed under street lamps even at dusk. The fountain murmured like seduction. He sat there waiting, arms wrapped around himself. He rose when I came, eyes asking, cautious. His face was softer in dim light. He rubbed his thumb along his jaw. "We're running out of time," he said. I sat beside him. Silence stretched between us. The night was cool. I felt his presence as warmth. He reached for my hand. I hesitated, then let him hold it. His fingers curled into mine. He dove forward. "I had a fantasy once of meeting her here, walking these stones. But now I fantasize only of you. Under a million stars, your hand in mine." His voice trembled. I swallowed. Confession shifted in me. "I think I've wanted you more than I wanted her." His breath caught. He squeezed my hand. "I've been terrified of that." He leaned in, brushing against me. The night air hummed with tension, possibility, guilt. I turned to face him, heart pounding. He kissed me then, fully, softly, not a rush but a slow unfolding. I melted into him, limbs dissolving, lips and breath pooling. The world receded, leaving only us in that ignition. Then he pulled away, but not completely. His forehead rested on mine. "I'm scared of losing you," he whispered. I closed my eyes. The fear, the desire, they mingled. Then don't lose me. He opened his eyes. They glistened. I won't. The moment stretched. We sat there side by side, not touching yet fully intertwined. But then near us, footsteps. A silhouette at the edge of the fountain light. Someone was watching or arriving. We froze. The figure approached, shape familiar. A jolt struck me. She appeared. Her presence shattered the calm. She walked toward us, confidence in her step, purse swinging. Her hair fell across her shoulder. She paused when she saw us, as though uncertain whether she'd stepped into the wrong story. The space between us blew wide open. He tried to stand. I tried to say something. My arm moved forward, then stilled. She looked at me, at him. I didn't expect you here, she said, voice low but steady. He inhaled. Took a breath. We were just. She cut him off. Meeting. Her eyes flicked between me and him. Or betraying. There was pain behind the question, but also something else, power. I swallowed. My mouth felt dry. I wanted to shrink into the stone bench. But I forced myself to look at her. Then at him. I never meant to hurt you. My voice trembled but was true. Her gaze softened for a moment. She looked at me fully, with something fatal in her look. Then she turned to him. I'm going to leave again. For longer this time. He said nothing. She addressed me. I hope you understand what you've done. Then turned and walked away, her figure trailing into the night. I watched her go, heart roaring. He stood, arms falling limp. He stepped toward me, pulled me into his arms, held me like a refuge. I pressed my face to his chest, fingers tangling in his shirt. My tears fell silent. He rubbed circles on my back, whispering, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We stood there, absorbing the loss, absorbing what this triangle had done to us all. He kissed the top of my head. We can't hide, he murmured. Not anymore. I looked at him, the moonlight on his face, the weight in his eyes. I want you to know, I never stopped wanting you. He captured my lips in a kiss, not furtive now but urgent and open, claiming. My hands went to his shoulders, then to his face. We lost ourselves in each other, forgetting for a moment that the world existed, forgetting the other woman, forgetting the betrayal. When we pulled apart, breath ragged, I saw the anguish and longing in his eyes. He reached for me. Come with me tonight. Let me show you there's a life beyond this. My heart wavered. The promise was terrifying. The unknown loomed. But the pull was stronger. I nodded. We rose together under the street lamps, entwined in silent resolve. We slipped away into the night, hands clasped, hearts braces of both fear and hope. The city slept under our feet. Streetlights flickered. The wind whispered secrets. I felt him close, protective, longing, conflicted. We found a quiet apartment, not hers, not mine. He unlocked the door and led me inside. The windows faced the street, but the blinds were drawn. The silence wrapped us, allowed us breathing room. He guided me to the couch. We sat wordless, the tension humming. He took my hands, held them like fragile glass. I leaned toward him. He kissed me slowly, deeply, bridging broken edges. I responded, letting every part of me yield, wanting nothing but to dissolve into him. The kiss intensified. Not crude but electric, taut with want, with decision. He pulled back enough to look at me. I want you, without secrets, without shadows between us. I whispered, yes. He rose, moved to the window, pulled the blinds. Now the world outside peered in. He beckoned me closer. I stood. He wrapped me in his arms. He kissed me again, this time full, allowing what had been suppressed to finally flow. I pressed my hand to his chest and felt his heartbeat hammering like a drum. Resonant. My breath came in waves. Our bodies shifted, molding to one another. A dance of softness and urgency. The room held us, forgiving for now. We moved to the small bed, the sheets crisp and still new in this space. We lay beside each other, tentative at first, and then with a confidence born of surrender. Every brush, every sigh, every whispered name carried weight. The world outside ceased. We melted together in a heat that was half reckoning, half redemption. I trembled, body and soul, until I felt him shiver against me, until we exhaled in unison, locked in that ruin and rebirth. Afterwards we lay entwined, skin touching, breaths elevated, the silence rich and tender. The vulnerability hung between us like a vow. He traced circles on my back, his fingers slow. Thank you, he murmured. For staying. For risking. I turned to face him. In the low glow of the bedside lamp, his face looked softened, relieved, haunted. I brushed my thumb over his cheek. I don't regret it. He leaned into me, pressing his lips to my forehead. Then we move forward from here. Together. I closed my eyes against the rising tide of emotion. Fear. Joy. Guilt. Hope. They melted into one. He pulled me close, whispered my name. I whispered his.